Hey y'all, Emma here, and today we're going to do a little overview of my TEAC A3300SX-2T. Now before I get into all the technical stuff, I just want to let you guys know that this is a musician's guide, obviously since it says it in the title. I play music and I only use this for recording when we record or when we play our stuff. This is our music room, and it just kind of sits here because it's heavy, and because it's an odd recording. It's only 2-track instead of 4, so my regular pre-recorded tapes do not work on this, and yours probably won't either. I mean, it will. I mean, it won't. Kinda, but we'll get into that. I'm not going to go very in depth with these controls, but real quick, power on. You have your counter here, which is a little hard to see with the reel, which kind of sucks if you're not using it at eye level. Right here is your small and large selector for your reel. Large is 10, small is 7.5. They don't have any smaller ones, but it's mostly for the 10. High-low speed, that's 15 IPS and 7.5 IPS. Wait, I lied. That's a quarter and then a half. Anywho, fast, still fast speeds. Over here is your mic level that controls the left and right input here. And then right here is your line, which is your RCA in on the back behind it. These have 2 separate preamps, and yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. I don't know what I'm talking about. The output is for the phones or the output RCA in the back here. Right here is your output source and tape. That basically changes what comes through the VU meters right here. The record bias and record EQ is basically for what tape you're using. It's different for the formula tapes. And then record mode on and off is just a safety, so you don't record over whatever you want to not record over. Over here, rewind, fast forward, play. It only records in this motion, and to record it, you can either do record play, or what I do is record pause. That shows the red lights, and then all you have to do is hit play, and then it starts recording. Stop. I don't use pause much. I just kind of default to the stop, but maybe that's because I'm not used to having it. One of the big features of this deck is the 2-track. They call it the 2-track master recorder. Basically what this means is that it only records 2 tracks going one way. Your normal 4-track would have 2 tracks and then 2 tracks going the other way so that you record both sides, but this is only one way. That means you get a larger surface area on the tape to record with. It also means less tape hiss. And then combined with the 15 IPS, it does a really great job at just giving you clarity, but not totally taking away the bass that a 30 IPS speed system would. Going through my chain real quick, below, which you can't see, is a 12-channel mixer, which I have all my microphones getting plugged into or whatever I'm recording with. Through that, I have some of them sending into this compressor, which you can barely see. It's a Behringer Multicom. I got it for like $50 on eBay. I think it works good. Granted, I've never heard any other compressors, but it does the compressing. So I like it. Through the compressor, it goes back into 4 other channels on my mixer, and then that mixer, the RCA out, goes into the RCA in line in on the TEAC. I think this works pretty good. I think the biggest fault is the mixer, but I'm not going to get into that because this is about this. One thing I failed to mention was actually this little lever right here. To be honest, I don't know what the name of it is. That's the SX in the whole name. But what it does do is when you have it activated, when you move the reels either by hand or playing, well, I guess playing it wouldn't matter, by hand, you can hear what's being recorded on it. When you had it deactivated, you would just hear the when it fast forwards. This is if you wanted to splice things or go real analog and do your own editing in terms of commercials or radio stuff, if you still do that. I don't have a use for it, so I leave it off. So let's get into the musician part of it. I'm going to start with some of the things that kind of threw me at first, that aren't necessarily bad or good, but I just thought were different than my other tracks. Before I had a TEAC, what was it? 4050 someone? I don't remember. But it was only a 7-inch reel deck, and it was all wood and then like metal. But this deck is a little different. It's actually like a metally plastic thingy. It's kind of, it rattles, but it's lighter. But still heavy. Still very heavy. It's a little weird feeling, and it makes you kind of wonder, like, if I drop it. But don't drop it, so then that won't matter. It is a little top heavy when you're carrying it. There are definitely a couple times where I thought it was about to fall forward. So really lean it up against your chest when you're carrying it. But another important thing, which doesn't involve moving it, is the tape counter like I first mentioned. It is a little hard to see. Right now my deck is pretty much at like my waist level. It's not a great position, but I have to bend over to see it, and even then I can kind of see it. But if you're looking from this way, you definitely can't see that smaller number all the way to the right. And it's a little bit of a pain, but boo-hoo, right? Another thing is I think my VU meters are a little off when it comes to the source. I think my source measuring is a little bit quieter or hotter than what the tape out is, but maybe that's just me not knowing what to do. I did have it serviced by my technician that I know locally, so I'm not completely picking it up, because I only bought it for a couple $100, and it was a little beat up, but it was certainly a really good deal. Like many tape players, it gets hot. This thing heats up this room in about 10 minutes just sitting there idle, and if you're using it and rewinding it, it will get very hot. If you have a fan, it's still going to be hot. There's a window here, it's great. There's a highway right there, that's not great. So it's a little bit of a guess and check in terms of how you want to cool your room, but boo-hoo, you might just be a bit hot. When it comes to recording, I do want to emphasize that whatever you put in through this is just what's going to be on it when it comes to mixing. So if we record vocals, drums, and guitar first, however it's panned on your mixer, however the levels are, you can't change those individually. I'm sure you already know that, but if you went with like the 4-track version of this and you really wanted to individually do that, or you're taking live takes, there are certainly times where either my guitar was a little quiet or something needed a little bit of a boost or lowered, and we had to take a whole other take. Granted, we do this hundreds of times already when you practice, so it shouldn't matter too much, but it's a little tedious once you're getting on like, your 10th or 15th take, just because your guitar is a little quiet. But I do think that the 2-track is really great, and my tracks are really pretty quiet. Another thing I'd say is when you fast forward, it will shake. I never had a 10-inch reel DAC before, but I was a little concerned when I first got it, because I was like, oh, is it supposed to be shaking that much? But it'll go woo, 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 woo. And especially these guys that hold the tape tension, they'll kind of bounce, and it's a little concerning. I haven't had a problem with it. I've only had it for like about 2 months, but I certainly do fast forward and rewind a lot. But no problems so far. Another thing is that the capstan will get pretty dirty. I've never had a capstan on my other decks get like as dirty as this one, but I've also never used them as frequently as this one. But really make sure to clean that. because especially if you're using the older tape, it's really going to get chalked up. And make sure you don't get the sticky stuff either. That's obviously not good. A little info about the tape. As you know, 10-inch reels, some of they are either 3,600 feet for the larger ones, and I think the shorter ones are only 2,400. I'm not too sure. And here I have a 3,600 foot roll. I think that'll give me 40 minutes on one side, and then the other one will only get you 30 at 15 IPS. The only thing is that this is only one way, so you're only getting that 40 on one side. But most recording tracks like this are only one way. I guess. You also spool it, which I never spooled like this before until now. You put your reel on here, you fast forward it onto this one, and then you play it onto this one so it gets smooth. Except for it doesn't help when you have to rewind backwards and then play, because then it'll get all different. But in the end, when you just play it all the way through, it'll be nice and smooth, and you won't get any warping in 10 years. But this tape, and used, this won't matter to you, but I get these older tapes for about $30, and then I buy my new tapes from ATR, and these cost about $70. Granted, that is for the metal reel and the tape included. You can get just a pancake, which is just a flat disc with the tape on it to put on a reel, for about $40, but it's still certainly a lot for only 40 minutes. Granted, you can always do 7.5, which should probably get you the same quality, but if I were to do 7.5, I might as well just buy a cheaper deck, so why not? I have one last thing to warn you guys about. This may just be me, but sometimes when you hit the back button, the fast or the rewind, it'll get stuck under the plate here, and then when you hit stop, it'll just kind of cancel it, and then it'll continue rewinding. This probably isn't good for your machine, and you should watch out for that. When I'm hitting this button, I'm usually crouching right there, so I hit it up, and then it gets stuck, and then I don't pay attention because I'm looking here, and then I hit stop, I'm like, whoa! So just be careful about, on your own deck. And don't be alarmed, because I've had it happen with the Play too, but it's just because it's a little bit looser here compared to these guys. They're a little stiff. So thank you all for watching. I hope this gave you something. I know I just wanted to point out things that I didn't see on these other people's reviews or demonstrations. I'm sure you're going to have some comments, and I might respond to them. Sometimes I just don't check my account because I'm busy and I have school and work and stuff, and I didn't really know you guys actually watch these. So I know my other reel-to-reel video got a lot of views, and it did absolutely nothing in terms of explaining what happened or what I did and how it got fixed. I ended up giving it to my repair dude, and he has it right now, so it's not thrown out. I kind of, but oops. So sorry, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, just let me know if you hate me or don't. Other than that, take care.